Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm filming a first impressions slash demo video on the Morphe 35R palette. Now this one just came out last week and I just received this in the mail, so we're going to play with it and swatch it for you. So if you're interested, just keep watching. Okay, so I've been on YouTube for a while now and I'm definitely familiar with the Morphe palettes. Here is my stack of the other palettes that I own from Morphe. So I'm just really excited about this new palette that came out. I was not sure if I was going to pick it up. I was kind of in two minds about it because I don't give my Morphe palettes enough love. As you can see, I have quite a few of them. So I was like, do I really need another palette? But I do enjoy doing YouTube. It is definitely one of my favorite hobbies. So I decided for review purposes to pick up the 35R palette. So if you haven't seen a Morphe palette before, which is highly unlikely, but this is what the outer packaging looks like. It just has a simple black plastic case, pretty sturdy, and it just says Morphe on the front, and it's plastic. This is definitely made for like professional makeup artists or people that just don't want to spend a ton of money on eyeshadows. Each of these palettes, the 35 pan palettes, retails for $22.99 and includes 35 shades. Now this is the newest palette to the range of 35 palettes. And then I just want to show you what the packaging looks like. This is the box that the palette comes in. So again, very simple. And it's also bubble wrapped on the inside, which is nice. So I've never had like a Morphe palette that was shattered on delivery or anything like that. And then on the back, it just lists the ingredients for the palette, as well as it does say that the net weight of the palette is 1.98 ounces and that this palette is made in China. So I just wanted to show you guys this, but Morphe is a company based out of California, and they do have a store as well in California. I've never been to the store, but I have ordered all my palettes online. Shipping is typically pretty quick. You do get free shipping once you spend $100 on the website. I didn't pick up any other things other than the palette this time, so I did pay shipping of about $8 to $9, but it was very quick. The palette's $22.99 and then you're paying about $9 for shipping, so that's almost half the value of the palette. So that kind of annoys me about Morphe, but also usually if you're only ordering brushes and stuff like that, shipping is not as expensive. It's on the palettes that the shipping goes up. Typically, if you order just brushes and stuff, your shipping's about $3 or $4. So it does vary depending on what you're buying. Yeah, so online, the limit for these palettes is 3 per customer. So you can buy like 5 of these palettes. And I was actually thinking this palette was going to sell out because, of course, Morphe is one of those brands that's really hyped up on YouTube. They have a lot of affiliate codes and affiliates. So there's a lot of bigger YouTubers out there that love to push Morphe. Definitely something we should talk about is, you know, is Morphe good? Is Morphe bad? I personally kind of see both sides of it. I get that it's an affordable product, so, you know, you can't fault people that want to buy an affordable palette because makeup is very expensive. And if you're, you know, a no muss, no fuss kind of person, and this formula works for you, why not? I've seen some very negative reviews. I've seen people that are very upset with Morphe. I totally understand kind of all sides of the ball game. There's a lot of very positive feedback out there that you can find. I'm also going to link down below, I think, a video by Nicole. She does very thorough reviews on YouTube. I know there's a lot of really popular YouTubers out there and people really like the flashy Manny's and like Jeffree Stars of the world, but there's also really good quality information on YouTube, and I just think Nicole's review on Morphe is very in-depth, so definitely, you know, listen to all sides of the argument and then make up your own mind about stuff. So anyway, back to this palette. This is the 35R. It's called the Ready Set Gold palette, and you can kind of see why. It's a lot of brown shades, a lot of gold shades, and I think this palette would work for pretty much every skin tone. There's a little bit of something for everyone. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into my demo of this palette right now so you can kind of see how the shadows performed on my eyes. And I've actually had this makeup on now since about 10 a.m. this morning. So the shadows are still on my eyelids and I think they look nice and opaque. And yeah, I had a really good time playing with this palette, so we're gonna go ahead and put that right in here now. Okay guys, so since I've never used this palette before, I'm gonna do a demo of it. So here is the 35R, And I just thought this would be a fun way for you guys to see how this palette performs. So I zoomed you in really close. My whole face is done. I'm just going to do a really quick, simple eye look for you guys. So here is what the palette looks like again. And let's see. So I'm probably going to lay down just a regular buttery color, like a cream color like this, just to set all my eye product that I have on, my primer and stuff like that. And for that, I'm just going to use a regular brush, and let's see here. This is pretty clean. I'm going to try and use this Sephora Dry Clean Instant Dry Brush Cleaner Spray. I've had this forever, except I've never used it, so I thought I would try it out in this video as well. It has a really nice scent to it, so that's nice. And it's not as messy as the Cinema Secrets brush cleaner, which is also a really popular one. So this is just a Real Techniques fluffy brush. And again, I'm going to pick up this cream shade right here. It's the lightest color in the palette, like a banana shade. So instantly you do see when you tap it, there is some fallout, but that's not the end of the world with Morphe. I really like the shade. You can definitely see it on my lid. And yeah, it's blending in pretty well. And I'm going to just use this as my brow bone highlight as well. So I'm just covering my entire lid with that creamy color, using it as my base. So next I'm going to use this Tarte Make Believe in Yourself, like the unicorn brushes. I really like the eye brushes, but mine's dirty, so I'm just going to spray some of this Sephora cleaner on it again. And it works really well. It's like really cleaning my brushes. I'm so impressed. So if you guys are looking for VIB sale recommendations, because the sale is coming up here next month, I would say this is good so far. I wonder how long it'll last me, because it's not a very big container. But so I'm going to pick up like a warm crease shade, probably this one right here. These don't have names, so that's kind of annoying about Morphe's palettes, but you can name them all if you want for yourself. Oh, I really like this color. It's very warm. It's really showing up on my lid. Really pretty shade. It's like almost like a mustardy, but it's just a very warm brown shade. I could just smear this all over my lid and call it a day. Really pretty. So I'm just basically concentrating this on my crease. I'm not going all the way up to my brow line like I did with that other shade, but just buffing it out and kind of blowing it out in the crease. So this is our first transition shade in the crease. I'm just doing windshield wiper motions. And I don't mind bringing this color down to my lid as well, because it's a beautiful color. So just spreading that, making sure it's nice and blended. Really like that color. Wow, very pretty color. I'm going to clean another dirty brush with the Sephora cleaner. So basically you just spray it on like that. And then just take a paper towel and just dusty dust. This is clean now. And I'm just going to buff that color in some more. I'm going to pick up another transition color. I'm going to go with like the satin shade right here. So we're going to put that also in the crease, just to kind of warm it up some more. And I just want to try a variety of shades in this palette for you guys.
I've obviously not used this palette until right now. I got it in the mail yesterday, so I wanted to show you guys kind of how it works. I wasn't planning on buying it, but I figured for review purposes, you guys would probably want to know my thoughts on it, so I picked it up. When did this launch? I think it was like Thursday or Wednesday it launched, and there's quite a bit of hype about it. Of course, Jaclyn Hill and Manny and all those affiliates were all over it, so.
And then I'm just going to deepen up the outer corner, one of these darker shades right here. So like all of these are pretty dark shades. I think this is cool too, because you could probably use this palette to fill in your brows if you have actually any kind of brown undertone that you like to fill in your brows with because they're nice matte shadows. So I'm just deepening up my outer crease to give it some definition. I'm concentrating my product right here and then just kind of sweeping it into the lid. And this is a perfect brush for that. This is the Morphe M433. It's like a tapered blending brush, so it really gets into like the crease here. If you can see it, it concentrates the product into the crease. It's not like a M441 brush. This is like definitely a blending brush. It's more round shape, if you can see that. Whereas the M433 is a tapered blending brush. So you can really concentrate the product into your crease. And I'm just going to put in a shimmer shade for the lid shade. So I'm going to clean off this brush again. This is from the Tarte Make Believe in Yourself. This is the shader brush. Okay, so these are all shimmer shades right here, these 3 rows. So for my lid, I'm going to probably be really basic and pick like this shade, just like a light shimmery shade. And I'm just going to pack that on.
To my lid. It's like adding a little bit of sparkle.
So I'm just concentrating this on my lid and then just slowly blending it into that darker shade. I'm not taking it all the way on my lid, just that first 2/3 of my lid.
So this is like the easiest way to do a smoky eye.
So not super duper pigmented on the shimmer shades. I don't have any Fix Plus on me, so I can't wet this right now, but I think it's still pretty. But of course these swatch like very pigmented. The shade is actually not that bright though, but there's a finger swatch. So, but on my lids it's not like the most pigmented shimmer shade in the world. And then I'm just making sure to buff everything in. So yeah, it's definitely a very brown look. I really do like the colors in the palette so far. And let me just finish my eyes up off camera and I will be back to tell you my thoughts on this palette. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed that little demo. Now I'm sure, as you can see, the palette performed really well for me. The formula is very similar to my other Morphe palettes. So next I just want to go ahead and swatch this entire palette for you. I'm just going to swatch these 2 rows at a time. So I'm just going to go down this way for each of these. And I'm just going to swatch on my front part of my hand here. I don't usually do primer or anything, and then I'm just going to do 1 swipe for each shade. So let me just go ahead and get started on the swatches. Okay, so I did go ahead and zoom you in a little bit closer for swatches. And here are the first 2 rows. Now this row is pretty neutral, a lot of transition shades. And the first 4 rows of this palette are matte. So if you're a matte lover, you're going to love these shadows. And they swatch pretty well. They're pretty bright. These are just 1 swipe, again, no primer. One of my favorite colors is probably this one right here. I actually use this in my crease in the demo that I filmed for you guys. And it's just like a beautiful warm brown, camel-y color. Just really, really pretty shade right there. So these are the first 2 rows. Okay, so now I have swatches for the 3rd and 4th row. The 3rd row contains 2 shadows that kind of look like they're satins. They have a little bit of glitter on them. They are the 2 shades right here. There's like a brown and an orange shade. So these are very beautiful as well. This row is not my favorite. It's like a bunch of really dark colors, but if you're really into smoky eyes, you might find that row very useful. I also think you can use this to fill your brows. It'd be a nice matte palette to fill your brows with. And then I really love this cream shade right here. It's nice and soft and blendable. I use that to set my primer on my eyelids when I was filming my demo. So next I'm swatching the 5th and 6th row, and these are the start of the shimmer rows, and these went on nice and buttery. Would probably be gorgeous if you use a MAC Fix Plus with these. They're very, very buttery, smooth shimmers. I used this top one all over my lid today for this eye look I filmed. It wasn't as pigmented on my lid, but I also didn't use any Fix Plus, so I think that would definitely make it more brighter on my lids. Okay guys, and here is a set of swatches of the very last row of the Morphe 35R palette. Again, these went on very beautifully. I love all of these shades. They're so gorgeous and bright. So this is definitely a gold brown lover's dream palette from Morphe. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed the swatches. Now I want to get into comparing the 35R to my other Morphe palettes. So again, this is what it looks like, and I do see a lot of similarities in this palette to the 25A palette. Now this is what this palette looks like. Morphe did release this a couple of months ago, and then they did re-release it. Was it last month? This is supposed to be a very limited edition palette, but I wouldn't be surprised if they relaunch it. This was about, was this like an $18 palette? It was like $20 or something like that. But a lot of the shades are very similar. Now I am planning on doing like a first impressions of this palette as well. I only got it a few weeks ago, but I just haven't had the time to get around to it. But I just think if you have this palette, you probably don't need the 35R. There's definitely more shimmer shades in this palette, so if that's something you're interested in, I'd probably go with this one. And this is available right now on Morphe's website, whereas you can't get this one right now on Morphe. So I think these ones are pretty close, pretty similar. And then with the 25A, they did also launch the 25B. I don't really see any similarities in the shimmer shades with this palette, but there are definitely a lot of darker browns in this palette. So if you have this and you like those dark shades, you probably don't want to have both. So anyway, totally up to you guys, but I just wanted to kind of give you side-by-side comparisons of these little palettes with the bigger palette. I haven't used this one yet. So again, if you want to see a first impressions video, let me know in the comments below. I have so many videos I need to film, but there's just not enough time in the day, sometimes it feels like, you know. So then this is the 35F palette. This is another newer palette from Morphe that was getting a lot of hype. Definitely more of a fall palette. Now in the viewfinder, it does look like they're very similar. The difference with the 35F and the 35R is the 35F is pretty much all shimmers. This last row is the only set of mattes in this palette. So that is one thing I don't like about Morphe. Their layouts on their palettes are always different. So it does show they don't really have consistency. They just kind of push out palettes whenever they feel like they have a bunch of shades they can slap together. But yeah, I do like the 35F. I think it's definitely more fall appropriate. But here are side-by-sides of those two. And then I also have the most popular palette by Morphe. This is the 35O palette. This is the one that basically blew up the internet last year. So I don't think they're very similar. This is definitely more orangey. The formula is pretty consistent between the two palettes. I'm just swatching some shimmers from both the palettes here on the back of my hand, and I think those shimmers do perform well. I do love the 35O. I think it's the perfect mix of mattes and shimmers. I don't think they're very close, so if you wanted to get both, I think you would find good use for both of these palettes in any of your collections. And I also have a full review of the 35O up against the 35S and the 35M, which is basically a shimmer version and a matte version of the same 35O palette. So that's what these two are. Let me just show these to you as well. So, okay, there we go. So this is the matte, this is the shimmer, and then I'm just going to hold all three of these up for you. So again, not a whole lot of similarities there between the 35 series and the 35R. Hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of what you're getting with this 35R palette. I do think it's great value for money. It's under $30, so really, if you're looking for an affordable option, this is definitely a good one for you. I have seen a lot of people that have really sensitive skin and sensitive eyes say they can't use the Morphe palettes because of some of the ingredients. I believe talc is a big ingredient in the Morphe palettes, and I'm by no means a chemist, so don't take my word for it, but I think if you have eye sensitivities, a lot of people do say their shadows are a little bit tougher for them to wear, but I don't have that problem, so I do continue to purchase Morphe. I do really like this palette. I do think it's worth the hype. Now, if you have a ton of other eyeshadow palettes, is this going to be like the end-all be-all of eyeshadow palettes for you? Definitely not. If you're looking for something like that's better quality, I think there's definitely other stuff out there, but if you're on a budget and you want something good that'll be good bang for your buck, I think definitely check out the Morphe shadows. Okay guys, that is all the information I have for you on the Morphe 35R palette. I hope you found this video useful and entertaining. Definitely leave me a comment down below if you have any questions or concerns about the palette. I'd be happy to assist you with any of that. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. I'm gonna go ahead and keep testing this palette out and see how I like it. I'm sure you'll see it in a favorites video or something like that. Or if I don't like it, maybe you'll see it in one of my products that aren't worth the hype after I keep trying it out some more. So yep, things can always change. Keep in mind, this is just a first impressions video. I literally got this palette yesterday, so I just wanted to get a video up for you guys in case you're considering buying it and stuff like that, just to share some of my thoughts and opinions and experiences with Morphe for you. Other than that, I've got a ton of new videos coming up for you guys. And if you have any video requests, also leave them in the comments as well. Again, thank you for subscribing to my channel, and I hope you guys have a great week. Bye!